Good afternoon to all those who have joined this event. Special greetings to the students of IIFM, whom I can see in a classroom in IIFM, and also greetings to some faculty members who may have joined, and of course, all the members of the IIFM Alumni Association. This is a very, very special occasion, a very special moment for all of us when we are starting with a new series of what should I say, discussions or conversations about entrepreneurship. There has been a lot of discussion amongst the alumni that we should support each other in entrepreneurship. We should create jobs. We should harness the entrepreneurial skills of IIFM alumni and IIFM students. And I remember a few years back, we set up a WhatsApp group called Beach. So I think the Beach has now given rise to some small sapling or a seedling, which is Avinya. I will also confess that I have not played much role in this. It is the role has been played by several people whom I will introduce a little bit later, except perhaps suggesting the name. So I'm happy that my suggestion was taken, and we have Avinya. So this is the first in a series of lectures and conversations that we will have on entrepreneurship starting from today. For those who don't know me, I am Sandeep Chakravarti, President of the IIFM Alumni Association. And we had elections last year. We have a new BOG in place. And a unique feature, or rather a very, very creditable feature of our new BOG is that we have large number of women in the BOG. So the activities of the BOG and the Alumni Association are now being driven by our women colleagues. So that's something to applaud, to cheer about. And today's event is a result of initiatives taken by the BOG, particularly led by Renuka, Shikha, Nimisha, where they reached out to the alumni. They did a feedback survey. And one of the points of the feedback was that we should have discussions on entrepreneurship. So it is a demand-driven kind of a response from the BOG. Now, Shikha, who is based out of London, hi Shikha, decided to take the lead. And Shikha is an IIFM alumni. And actually, Shikha is IIFM family because her hubby Pranay is also from Pranav is also from IIFM. And not only she is from IIFM, she went on to Harvard and she has an MBA from Harvard as well. So she's eminently qualified to lead this initiative within the BOG. Shikha is based out of London. She has been working 20 years in the finance sector. She worked with Demica, and now I believe Demica has been bought over by FIS.
Yes.
And they are into finance and consultancy. And on the side, she works for an organization called Women in Working Capital, and she is also non-executive board member of Age UK. So she is eminently qualified to lead this. She's very active in the BOG and is piloting many initiatives with us. One small point I would like to mention here before I hand over the mic to Shikha is that I never knew about Shikha or her husband. We never knew each other. I passed out in 1991. I think you passed out in 2000, 2001.
No,
And so this is
2003.
2003. So there's more than 20-year gap between us. But thanks to the Alumni Association, we met. And when I was posted in New York, they were visiting, I think, for an alumni event to the USA. And I must compliment her and her husband that it was the time of COVID. So they reached out to me and we met at Central Park. They made a point to meet and we met at Central Park because we could not entertain at home. And that's the time we got to know each other, and we have since been in touch. So this Alumni Association is a great glue. It's a magnet which brings people together. And for instance, I knew Vinith from before, and but not Neelima. Again, the Alumni Association brings Vinith and Neelima together. So I will hand over to Shikha, but just want to thank Vineet Rai for agreeing to do this. You are a well-known personality in India and abroad, and I think everyone is wanting to to hear from you. And also, Neelima, and I remember we featured you in our Friends of IFM lecture. You talked about waste management, but more on that from Shikha. I am not taking too much of your time, but I just want to thank everybody for joining this. Your participation is the only factor which will determine the success of this initiative. If we get good participation, we'll continue with this series. And if not, then we will look for some other reason to reach out to all of you. Thank you very much, and over to you, Shikha.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you also for suggesting to bring in Vineet as a moderator. And then Vineet brought his own vision to things to make it a bigger idea. And as you said, also the name Avinya was given by you, which is a beautiful name. So thank you for that. And now, everyone, a very warm welcome to our first episode of Avinya, to the alumni community joining from across the world, to the IIFM faculty members who have joined, and a very special welcome to our latest IIFM generation joining us from campus today in the classroom. Welcome, everyone. We are very happy to bring you this first episode of Avinya today. We hope to bring you some phenomenal stories of entrepreneurship, of building businesses ground up, with the pivots, breakthroughs, failures, and successes they have seen along the way. This will be a celebration of entrepreneurship. Joining me today is my co-host Vineet Rai, as Sandeep mentioned, PFM 94 and founder of Avishkar Group, and our guest speaker, Neelima Mishra from the class of 2013, founder of Seba Green Solutions. But first, a couple of housekeeping points. We are very keen to build a strong entrepreneur database for IIFM. One of our alums, Bhushan Patil, PFM 2018, has taken the initiative to start one such database. Our request to you is that if you are an IIFM entrepreneur, or if any of your immediate family members, your spouse, siblings, even parents or children who have been through this journey, this entrepreneurial journey, please reach out to Bhushan and the Alumni Association with the details of of the business of the venture, so that we can grow our database. We will share the email addresses in the chat in a bit. Now for the agenda today, I will start with introductions. I will start with Vineet and Neelima's introductions. If you have questions, please feel free to put in the chat and we will pick them up. We've also received some questions in advance, which we will include in our discussion with Neelima. Around the 45-50 minute mark, we will look to open for live questions, and we are very happy to go 15-20 minutes beyond the hour to address them. We will finish with closing statements from the panel, and may I request the audience to stay off the video and be on mute, particularly when the panel is talking. And now I will start with a personal memory flashback. 2001, I was a new student in IIFM. I used to write the monthly alumni newsletter Sampark, for which one of the content sources was talking to alumni coming to campus. On one such occasion, there was an alum visiting. I came across him in the computer center in the IIFM library building. I introduced myself and asked him who he was, what he was up to. He told me he was about to launch his venture, and he spoke very passionately about it for a good half an hour. What did strike me here was an IIFM alum about to take that risk, that plunge into the entrepreneurial world. He had a very young family back then, and he was setting out to build on his vision of creating what was probably one of the first impact investing institutions in the world. And now, nearly 2.5 decades later, Avishkar Group has over 10,000 employees, manages assets in excess of $1.5 billion, and offices in numerous countries. The group includes various businesses: Avishkar Capital, which is the impact fund; Arohan, which is a microfinance institution; Ash Finance, which is an NBFC lending to MSMEs; Intellicap, which is building ecosystems for impact globally. Vineet has received numerous awards, including Impact Investor of the Year by News Corp, Porter Prize for Strategic Leadership, the G20 SME Innovation and Finance Awards, and the World Business Award in 2005 as well. Also serving on various committees at national, international level in the OECD Blended Finance Group, G20 Startup Engagement Group. Vineet has been invited by Prime Minister Modi for consultations twice. He's been on SEBI's advisory committee for social stock exchange. So various initiatives. I don't think we have the time to go through all of those in which he's been a part of. Vineet is married to Swati, who is his co-founder, as well as an IIFM graduate of the same class. So thank you, Vineet, for joining us in this initiative. I don't know if you want to start with a few words here, and after that I can bring in Neelima then.
Yeah, no, thanks, Shikhar. I'm actually very grateful to be given an opportunity to be with two ladies on the same panel. So thank you so much. It says a lot about how the women leadership at IFM has been both engaging and is really, I mean, I never thought I would meet Shikha after so many years. And wonderful to hear about Neelima's journey as we actually came to know more about her. So, great future for the institution. It's a very interesting time in the world. We are not just seeking entrepreneurs, we are seeking entrepreneurs with a green vision. And I think that makes the time to start a series around entrepreneurship at IFM very relevant. IFM is unique in some sense. I don't think so we were ever thought to be as entrepreneurs. But on a ratio, per capita number of entrepreneurs IFM has produced, we might be top 5 institutes. So I'm not going by a full average number, but number of students that have passed out and number of them who have become entrepreneurs. I think we might be a top 5, top 10 institutes in the country. Of course, I have a habit of exaggerating, so you can take it with a pinch of salt. But on a percentage basis, I genuinely believe we would be actually in the top 5, 10. It's a great opportunity for us to explore the whole facets of entrepreneurship over multiple other entrepreneurs' journeys. So I'm very interested and curious about how to take this discussion forward. Neelima is the one who is actually the spotlight today. So we'll spend most of our time listening to her story. But both I and Shikha will chime in wherever needed with our own versions and views. And we'll challenge Neelima and hopefully excite more entrepreneurs to reach out to us so that we can feature them.
Thank you, Vineet. Thank you. So coming to Neelima, Neelima is a graduate of 2013 from IFM. Her venture, Siba Green Solutions, is a waste management startup based in Bhubaneswar, Orissa. The enterprise focuses on dry waste management, wet waste management, and single-use plastics. Their latest initiative is Recycle Pay, which focuses on scheduled dry recyclables pickups from households and other businesses. She graduated from MPhil in Environmental Policy from the University of Cambridge in 2022. She was also a recipient of the prestigious Chevening Scholarship. She has worked in various capacities and roles with the government of Odisha. And in June 2019, she was the only person from Odisha to be a part of the Climate Force Arctic expedition. We are also joined by her husband, Janmijay, today, who is himself an entrepreneur and also is also the Chief Technology Officer for Siba. Janmijay, do you want to say hello to our audience? Thank you. We will start with a video that Neelima has shared with us about Siba. Neelima, if you can start the video for us, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'll start with the video, actually.
It's a family support there. You're facing issues, Neelima? I can share.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Neelima, we got the PowerPoint and not the...
Would it help if I share the video, Neelima?
Yes. I think I don't have the permission to share.
Okay.
Okay. No worries at all. I'll share.
You have permission, but I think, yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Shikha,
might
I
have
think
to
the share
audio.
sound.
I'm sorry. Sorry, we have a bit of a technical hiccup here.
There are 3,000 such garbage mountains across India, and they have a humongous impact on the environment, the health, and the well-being of waste picker families. These unsanitary landfills show the missed opportunity, given half of it can be composted and a quarter of it can be recycled by developing collection and recycling systems. Given the problem, we came up with a solution, a smartphone application called Recycle Pay. Recycle Pay helps you schedule your dry waste pickup from your doorstep at your convenience.
One just needs to open the app, choose the kind of dry waste one needs to sell, schedule a date and time for pickup. Our team reaches out to you to collect the dry waste. We even weigh the dry waste and pay you right there and then. With this, we aim to maximize the recovery of waste, thereby reducing the volume of waste sent to landfills.
With Recycle Pay, we hope to reduce the strain on municipalities' collection services, improve the livelihoods of informal waste workers, and make our cities cleaner.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Neelima, when we see this video, one thing which comes across is you're not the first person to see these landfills between Mount Everest. I mean, generally landfill should go down, it goes up. What was it that made you think about, I mean, you can speak and we all see the problem, but we don't think about it as a solution. We don't think about coming up with a solution. Even if we think about coming with a solution, we don't really act on it or become an entrepreneur. And this is not necessarily the most glamorous thing to do. So what was that trigger that made you really take the jump and join in?
I completely agree. I think everywhere during our regular work and all, even during visits, we've all seen these black spots and dumping yards. But quite a lot of us just ignore it or tend to close our noses and just walk past it. But I think it was in 2019 when I went for the Arctic expedition, when I went close to the North Pole, I could see a lot of waste there. Apart from the climate change impacts at the polar regions, I saw waste in the form of fishing gear, there were bottles, etc., that were found. And that kind of actually astonished me to see waste at such high reaches of the planet. But when I came back to Odisha, that was all I could see. So there was unsegregated garbage everywhere. People were burning waste because people didn't have disposal systems. Animals were eating waste. There were a lot of these waste picker families who were actually scavenging the trash. And I think that's what triggered most. The landfill definitely gave me a reality check. And I thought that if I need to do something about it, I needed to get dirty and do something in the waste sector. I think that was one defining moment for me, which actually helped me decide that this is really something that I want to do.
Neelima, given, that at that point when you were starting out, how did you take the first step, like from concept to execution? What was the process for you?
If I can just share this slide, so this basically shows the journey of the Arctic expedition and how I saw all the kind of waste. And this basically was the starting point, if I can share. I had to have a lot of conversations with these informal waste pickers, with a lot of the people who are in the informal sector. In fact, we did a mapping or a kind of a census of these informal waste workers in the city of Bhubaneswar. Pratyush, he's an IFMite also. He actually helped us in this activity. And that helped us map out the transactions, the kind of waste flows that are there in the informal sector. And it helped us definitely understand the sector better. And this right now, our network has grown up to nearly 50 plus informal waste pickers, and we work with them on a daily basis. So yeah, that's where I think the starting point was having these conversations.
I don't know how many of the people in the audience actually understand that when people migrate from villages looking for a job to a city, the first startup job is actually being a rag picker. So this is the poorest of the poor when they walk into a city. This is the startup job. This is the starting job that they have. And it includes children, includes women and men. So it's a fairly painful way to start your entry. And these are the most vulnerable people as well. Neelima, I think a lot of people who are entrepreneurs here or want to be entrepreneurs may have a question in their mind as to what is it, Neelima? How did you actually start? Where did the money come from? What was the risk you were willing to take? How did it start? I mean, we all have this question. I had the same question when I wanted to become an entrepreneur. Who is going to pay?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when it comes to creating impact and when it comes to creating an income, there are a lot of question marks, especially when you're starting. So definitely, I dipped into my personal savings of around 1 lakh, and then we registered the enterprise. But then I also won a couple of grants from the Foreign Commonwealth Development Organization UK, from Startup Odisha, from even HDFC Parivartan grants, and that actually helped us take the flight, and we developed the app thereon. So I think those were the first initial crucial steps that definitely helped us take to the stage. And we currently at a we first started in Bhubaneswar, and right now we've expanded to Cuttack, and we definitely hope to expand to other cities also as well.
Neelima, with that, can you also give the audience a sense of the size of the business? How has it grown since you started, and perhaps even where you're heading to? A sense of that would be good.
To be very frank, I think when we rolled out, it must be around like 2 years back, 1.5 years back, when we started the operations. After the first month, my operations guy, me, and the pickup agent, we all huddled together to see how much business we had made. It was just 6,000 rupees. And this was a business where the customers didn't have to pay us. We had to pay the customers. Yet it was just 6,000, a paltry sum of 6,000 rupees. But fast forward to like 2 years down the line, we are 100 times bigger. And average monthly revenue that we're making is of around 6 lakhs. And our yearly turnover last year was around 40 lakhs. And we hope that we have exceeded that amount this year, definitely. Saying this, I mean, as I said earlier also, that we're looking to expand to other geographies. Other geographies and other tier 1 and tier 2 cities, we hope to grow up to around 40 cities in the next 5 years through a franchisee model. And we would really be happy if any of the IFMites would be happy to take that up in their own cities. We would be glad to give the technical support for them to take up the venture in their own cities also as well. I just also had to say that this informal waste sector is prevalent in South Asia and in India, and also in Latin America also as well. So we have taken the first few steps of interacting with the ecosystem in Cambodia. And we're trying to make a footprint there and make a presence felt there also as well. But I definitely know Vietnam, Indonesia, and all these places have the informal waste sector, and this is where we want to make our mark.
Perhaps a question for Vineet here. Beyond revenue growth, what metrics should a startup prioritize to be attractive to investors? I mean, given where Neelima is today, she'll probably be looking in that direction. So if you can help us with that, Vineet.
Yeah, I think it's not never easy for an entrepreneur because investors have choices, but entrepreneurs have what you call the desire to succeed. So I think it's a game of how strong your desire to succeed is, how far you throw your net. But from an investor perspective, what they are looking for is conviction, which Neelima has shown. What they also look for is scalability, which comes from the revenue. So she has grown and shown significant amount of revenue as well. I think the management team and the shape of the management that's coming through, then it also becomes vision to scale. Now, Neelima mentioned franchising is essentially a capital efficient way of scaling up. But then you don't have the kind of control on the business. That's the downside, but the upside is that you're able to play down the risk within your system. So a lot of things play out. At this point of time, Neelima, where you are, you should be actually looking at angel investors largely, ideally an angel investor who's coming from the surrounding areas where you're operating. So I also know for a fact that Odisha government is actually very active right now looking at startups. So I'll not be surprised if you win some awards from Odisha government for being into a very unique space as a startup. But if you are able to push your journey forward, then early stage impact investors, I can read out some names. Next Bharat is actually one of those. If you want, I'll connect you to them. It's the Suzuki Corporation's impact fund. I'm a mentor to the fund, so I will connect you to them. But there are many other similar people who are looking at investing between 100,000 to $500,000. Remember that India now has a huge amount of supply of very early stage investors. It's very unique. When I started off, the term early stage investing didn't exist, but today you have a fairly large number of them. So raising a small amount of money, when I say small amount, 100,000 to $500,000, 1 crore to 5 crore, is not as difficult as it used to be. But once you raise that money, you have to really utilize that money to lay down and showcase and very robustly showcase how you can be unit cost positive. And that ultimately is the entrepreneur's test, whether you can deliver a unit cost positive business plan. So you may be even loss making at the company level, but on the unit cost, you must deliver profitability. And you might have to then define what is your unit cost.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much for these inputs, Vineet. I think, as you rightly mentioned, we're in that stage where we are looking for seed funding to expand because we have, and thank you for those advice and suggestions. I'll definitely reach out to you once we're there.
Neelima, you talked about how you started and a bit on where the business is today. I was thinking, when you started, there must have been some kind of self-doubt or even criticism that you faced from people. I mean, waste management is not a career everyone is aspiring for here today. So tell us a little bit about what you went through, emotionally, or what you faced at that point.
You rightly said, and I mean, young women don't aspire to work in the waste management industry, definitely. And as Vineet also rightly said, it's not glamorous. It's not maybe sexy or cool enough for someone to take up this sector. But saying this, I think the initial dissuasion definitely came from my family, who told me that this was not your battle to fight. I mean, you don't have to do it because the government is there. They should be doing all this. Why are you getting into it? And they thought actually I would grow out of it. And they thought that I was being maybe idealistic or something like that. But then, 5 years down the line, since I've registered SEBA, I'm fighting different battles now. Now it's changing mindsets about waste. Now it's, challenging the stigma around waste. It's trying to include the informal waste picker system into the formal management system. And yeah, the challenges continue.
Neelima, I think one is waste recycling. There is also regulatory changes that are taking place in the ecosystem. You're looking at a new way of scaling yourself through franchising. There is also material MRFs that you can go with. Technologically, you can actually scale yourself. There is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, so you can actually tie yourself to that. There are many different ways you can look at scalability. You can bring about new innovations. But other than the use of mobile phone and the app, would there be actually a different way to looking at innovation? What innovation, new innovations you can bring in within the waste management system? Because it is not an Achilles heel for India or Indian cities. It is a very natural challenge across the board. I mean, our ambassador is in Indonesia, and I can tell you the islands are really struggling. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think innovation as a perspective definitely is required, and I mean, for an example, in India also we've seen Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands also suffer from waste issues, and similar terrains like even the Himalayas or even the northeastern regions, they have different geographies altogether. So waste management is a problem that's everywhere. It's not restricted. It's not restricted, and it's just growing in volume, in unprecedented volumes. Um, so essentially, and primarily, Recycle Pay is a waste tech organization. We have a team of people who are helping us build the technology and fill in these technical gaps. One thing that I would like to highlight here is in the app we have developed a an AI-based scan and recognize feature. So, so people can basically scan the product, and based on the type, the texture, and the color, it will identify whether it's a plastic, whether it's a aluminum Coke can, whether it's an e-waste, whether it's recyclable or not. So I think that is something that is helping user engagement. That is also something that has helped us make policy decisions. That's also something that is providing data as well to help to enable regulatory bodies. So that is one small innovation example that I have provided. We are also in dialogue also actually with Google CircularNet, and they were mighty impressed with this model that we have created, given the data that we had. So yeah, innovation is essentially important, and as you also mentioned, the ecosystem around waste is changing. So there's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, there is plastic waste management rules, there's battery waste management rules, there's extended producer responsibility also. So I think there is a lot to leverage in this sector.
So, you mentioned about the waste management ecosystem. Any gaps or opportunities that you would like to specifically mention? And then, in terms of, inspiration, were you influenced by people who are already working in waste management? Would be good to know if you had examples to look up to.
Your first question was about
Was around the waste management ecosystem in
Yeah,
India.
the
I think you'd
ecosystem.
already started referring to that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
where
yeah.
do you see the gaps and opportunities?
Yeah.
And whether you saw, other examples you could emulate?
Yeah. I think one thing that I would like to, bring to perspective here, that India imports plastic waste. Close to nearly around 93,000 tons of plastic waste from USA and Canada. It's surprising to know when a country like India does it already has enough of plastic waste, but yet we import. And why do we do this? Because the kind of plastic that we generate is either unsegregated, or and it's easy for companies to pay the importers directly, and not pay for the collection on ground. So it's very easy for them to just import these plastic bottles. That's a huge gap. I mean, when the country is sufficient enough, then why do we need these imports? So there is a lot of gap that I see in terms of technology innovation, in terms of, you know, segregation of waste, or maybe even in a lot of rules and regulations with regard to waste management. So yeah, there are quite a lot of opportunities, and the opportunities are just coming up. You know, there are also various sectors with regard to waste, like bio waste, biomedical waste, solar waste, battery waste. I think these specific areas also just make it, just show that there are a lot of opportunities. The government of Odisha, I think Vineet was also mentioning that the governments are also stepping up, and they are also providing a lot of subsidies with regard to waste management industries. So yeah, but one pain point area is the GST regime, which is around 18% for any kind of waste, basically. So if that is reduced, maybe that will really be helpful. Vineet, maybe you should try and take it to the policymakers.
30 days down the line, you will hear something like that. Just
Wow.
I don't know whether
Neelima,
it will be on the waste management, but there is a GST council review. Sorry.
I was going to say, Neelima, I was looking for, you know, were there people in the industry you were influenced by?
Yeah.
You know, was there anyone you looked up to? Any inspiration? And maybe that question I will pose to Vineet as well at a later stage.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely look up to Wilma Rodriguez of Sahas Zero Waste and the late Poonam Bir Kasturiwala of Daily Dump. These women have actually changed the face of waste management. Bangalore has been such a great innovation and an inspiration center at all. Sahas Zero Waste manages around 100 plus tons of waste daily across cities, and Daily Dump has managed to make composting cool across all urban households. So yeah, they've definitely shown that, you know, waste management just does not have to be a civic responsibility. You know, it can take an entrepreneurial movement also as well. So credits to these people and the Bangalore ecosystem for actually showing as to how waste needs to be dealt with, and now Indore also. Yeah.
And Neelima, before I ask you this question, let me tell you a story because it relates to the question. So I made my first investment in waste management in a company called Let's Recycle, which probably you know.
Nepra.
So I put in 2.5 crores. This is all 2013. So it was quite an exceptional moment. And two guys, as smart people, they immediately understood very easy to convert money into waste. So 2.5 crore became 200 tons of waste. Then there was a fire, and the waste then became 2.5 kg of ash. So I lost 2.5 crores, and in what 60 days after I invested that money. And so my question to you is, have you faced a hopeless situation in your last 2-3 years where you felt very hopeless, very despondent, and then actually found a way, pulled through with your inner courage with support from others?
Not as hopeless as losing 2.5 crores, definitely. But yeah, I mean, there have been some challenging moments when I started off, and I'm fairly new to this entrepreneurial journey. So my experiences might not be as vast or as immense. But yeah, I think one challenge that I faced was, you know, when we were launching the Recycle Pay app. The guest of honor was Dr. Andrew Fleming. He's the British Deputy High Commissioner, and he was supposed to be he was supposed to be the guest of honor. So the stage is all set, and a day prior, we hoped that we could include the city officials as part of this event also. So we went to the municipal corporation, and rather than being welcome, actually we were shunned out of the door because we were treated as a threat to the ecosystem, to the threat to the existing waste collection system being done by the municipality. And later during the day, we were also threatened by the corporator saying that देखते हैं कैसे तुम लोग function करते हो अपना. and I think that was the scariest few lines of my life then. But I think the tables have absolutely turned right now, where we are empaneled as vendors with the municipality, and we are right now working hand in hand with them, trying to reduce the waste in the cities. But yeah, that has been some kind of troublesome and some kind of challenging moments. But yeah, we pulled along.
Uh, Neelima, in terms of your journey, what have been the relationships and the support that have come handy, where you realize that they have made a difference in your journey, as you move forward.
I think this this journey has been while it's been exciting, it's also been very overwhelming, and there are certain days when you think that who's running what. Am I running the business, or the business is running me? And in those days, these support systems in terms of your family, your spouse, uh, these are very essential. And I think those moments have actually helped me retain my sanity, definitely. I would also like to give a big shout out to the IIFM Women Alumni Group, because they've always pumped me up, they've always cheered me on, they've always encouraged me, and I think that's been really helpful in this journey. I might not have known many of them, face to face, but I think the connections have really helped me going.
I was about to ask you a question on, has there been a moment where you felt very proud, not just of your business, because your business is unique, but to yourself also for taking the challenge? You mentioned one when you turned the table from being thrown out to actually being the vendor, but is there any other moment that made you feel?
Um, yeah, I think I would like to mention that I was featured on the cover page of the New York Times, and this was as part of the L'Oreal Foundation Women Climate Collective. So that was a moment definitely that will be with me forever. Um, the leadership program actually gave me a lot of space to amplify my voice on climate change and also on waste management. So that's one core memory that I definitely have. And one thing that I would like to mention is that, being a woman in business, these days especially, is easier. There are a lot of people who are actually pushing you to do well. There are a lot of incubators and accelerators, especially, like I am Bangalore, NSRCL. They are actually pushing you as a woman entrepreneur to take the flight ahead. In fact, the government of Odisha supports women entrepreneurs with an extra capital also. So they provide some extra startup assistance grants also as well. So yeah, I think these moments definitely pull you along, and they make you believe that what you were doing is good.
Thanks for that. Neelima, I'm actually going to start with the audience questions now. And there have been some members of the audience who responded to our request on the alumni groups for questions. And the first question that we received was from Sonali PFM25. Sonali, you can say hello if you're here. And she says, building a business in the waste sector, which is primarily an unorganized sector, and operating in a tier 3 Indian city, how do you make this as an opportunity? And in what ways SIBA is bringing innovation to the unorganized sector? You've covered some of that in your answers, but if you want to add to that, Neelima?
Yeah. So I think choosing my home city was definitely personal as well as practical, because the kind of entry barriers or the opportunity or the costs associated with starting a business are relatively less here in Odisha. So that's why the decision to start something here was important to me, and I wanted to make an impact here also as well. Um, with regard to working with the informal sector, Vineet has already mentioned that they are a migrant community. They are also they are also from the minority community mostly. Working with them has not been very easy. You know, I was seen as an outsider to the system. But you know, our regular interactions and our regular conversations have shown that, you know, that they can be one of the biggest business enablers also as well. I remember Abdullah Bhai, who's part of our network. He told me initially कि मैडम अगर आपके सिस्टम पे पेमेंट टाइम पे आ जाएगा तो हम लोग भी टेक्नोलॉजी सीख लेंगे. I think that kind of willingness to adapt gave me the confidence to actually go ahead. And we right now have a network of around 50 plus informal waste workers who are working along with us. I would also like to highlight that currently we are accepting textile and thermocol waste apart from the recyclables also, like paper, plastic, electronic waste, glass, etc. But we are currently working with textile and thermocol waste, wherein which we are actually incentivizing these waste workers to pick up from the waste workers as well as the rag pickers to pick up. And also we are trying to bring them into the formal sector by providing them with ID cards, by providing them with maybe insurance access. So these are certain things that we're trying to do.
Thanks for that, Neelima. There is a next question coming from Varsha from PFM 94. Varsha, please show up in the video if you're there. When you started Siva Green, did you have a clear idea about the entrepreneurial journey that it would entail in terms of costs, connections, responsibility, and everything else that you're doing now? And we have Varsha there. Hi, Varsha.
Hi, Varsha ma'am.
So, Neelima, over to you for the answer.
So, I mean, to be very frank, I mean, I'm a first generation and an accidental entrepreneur. I think waste found me rather than me finding waste. So yeah, I was clueless in the beginning when it came to costs or when it came to operations, because I come from the policy and the sustainability management background. Dealing with technology, dealing with these operation guys, dealing with agents was something that I had never done before. But I learned along the way, and it definitely was a steep learning curve. I'm still learning finances, by the way, and that's something that it's something that I'm enjoying along the way. I read somewhere that, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you do not build a business, you build yourself. I think that kind of resilience, that kind of patience, and the kind of the sanity that you need to maintain when there are storms all around you is something that entrepreneurship will only teach you. I think you agree with this, Vineet.
Yeah, but this is. Let me ask you on behalf of Amit Shinge, who's PFM 17, and his question is largely about how has the manpower, human capital, helped you? What have you done as things scaled up? How did you attract talent? What kind of talent? And ultimately, between capital and human capital, it's the human capital that takes you across. Capital is important, but not necessarily a necessary condition. But for success, human capital is far more important. So, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think while Vineet, you might be able to better answer this question given your large team. But you know, when we started, we were very lean organization, and but I think the kind of people that bring you in and who align with your vision is very important. It's those team members who actually pull you along. And I think one important thing is that you need to have a diversity of skill sets in your team. You know, what you might not be able to do, maybe the other team members will be able to do and actually pull the organization ahead. But I would definitely have that alignment in vision and mission in the people that you bring in, very important. But your thoughts, Vineet? I think you have a large team, so how is it?
I'll get back to you, Neelima, but I think, Shikhar, there are some questions in the chat box if you want to take it.
Yes. In fact, there was a question which I actually wanted to pose to you, Vineet, and that was also coming from Sonali. And she asked, what were some of the, biggest operational and financial challenges? In fact, Neelima, you probably are facing this as well in your work. If either of you want to answer that. And then what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build purpose-driven businesses but are concerned about the financial uncertainties, which I think, Neelima, you're facing as well. So maybe, Neelima, you go first, and then I'll request Vineet to chime in as well.
Yeah, I think I've already mentioned this. When you're starting off, the balance between income and impact it has to be very well treaded. Sometimes you are you sometimes you are just bankrupt basically, but your vision just keeps you going. And I think uh, the fact that you need to have a lot of like-minded people whom you can actually engage with. They can be either investors or maybe grantees, to get their kind of thoughts and their kind of suggestions and their kind of viewpoints also as well. So it's very very essential to do that kind of talking. And yeah, these operational and financial difficulties will be all along the way, but whether you're a small organization or whether you're a big organization, as Vineet also as well.
Vineet, your take on that question?
So, first, not everybody need to be an entrepreneur. So, there are few people. The first criteria to be an entrepreneur is you have to learn to be logical, because logic and entrepreneurship don't go hand in hand. Why would you leave? I mean, when you're in a job, you consistently get paid. Sometimes you lose your job, but so first, entrepreneurship means you're trying to actually do something that gives you more joy than financial stability. So if you don't find that, don't become an entrepreneur. Again, I'll repeat myself. You need to find something that gives you more joy than financial stability. And for general average human being, financial stability gives the highest joy. So unless you find something that takes you beyond that, don't try to get into entrepreneurship. Second, if you have this question, how do I balance the twin? You are not ready to be an entrepreneur, avoid being an entrepreneur. Third, entrepreneurship is a journey, it's not a destination. You will be on a path littered with all kinds of challenges, and doesn't matter how large, how small, where you are, what you do. The challenge will knock every day. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter you are 5 years old, 5 months old into entrepreneurship, or 15 or 25 or 35. You can go bankrupt any moment. Especially if you are in emerging economy, and more so if you are in an impact space. The more you are in impact space, the more reasons why people will poke you and will look to find weaknesses in your system, because you are challenging the normal and you're being standing out quite. So these are some of the challenges. Very quickly on the manpower side, for any entrepreneur anywhere in the world, the first question you should ask is, how do I succeed? And the only way to succeed is by attracting talent that's better than you. Invariably, the biggest challenge we have seen in entrepreneurs who are not able to, so you can create a lot of bonsais, and there are a lot of excellent entrepreneurs who are bonsais in India, largely because their ability to attract talent who's better than them is very limited. So these are very smart people, but their ability to grow is linked to how much they can attract who are superior to them. And that giving up, the desire to not be the best, is actually one of the biggest questions that we all face in this journey. So I think these are some of the answers from my side, but I think we have 14 questions now.
We have a number of questions in the chat. I think I'll pick up Ravi's question. And Neelima, this one's straight for you. While the revenue growth is impressive, what efforts have you taken for driving down costs and to increase profitability?
Yeah, I think we are trying to recalibrate we're trying to recalibrate so that we can drive down costs. First, for example, is we've taken a battery vehicle so that we do not have to spend on fuel. So that's one of the simplest strategies. The other strategy that we've done is we do not own the vehicles. The power of the owners of the vehicles are the ones who are the pickup agents. So yeah, we've done quite a lot of stuff, and we are in the process of having a small processing hub also as well. So I think while that might increase costs in the short run, but in the long run, I think we definitely look to create some kind of recycled materials.
Neelima, I
Thank you.
think it's important, I'm just trying to add to Ravi, in some cases, especially when there is unlimited demand for your services, actually driving cost when you're born is a bad idea. So if you actually have a very large problem that you're solving, your strategy should not be driven by driving costs down, because profitability will again convert you into a bonsai. So well, what we are looking at from you, Neelima, is to become a very large tree. And if you have to become a very large tree and then actually build an entire ecosystem around you, you will require capital. So capital is a necessity in your case, especially looking at scale.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we require capital initially also for our vehicle, for our storage space, for even the manpower. So yeah, if we look to scale up, it'll definitely be required capital.
The next question in the chat is from Vijay. Vijay, if you're online, please come up. And your question is, what are the products and services being offered, and what is the financial model around them? I think the video covered some of the products and services, the recycle pay. But Neelima, if you have anything to add there, please do so. And how you're actually earning money in that model. Probably if you could address that.
Yeah. So recycle pay, we make money through these transactional commissions by selling waste in bulk to to authorized recyclers under the Pollution Control Board. So we make a 20 to 30% commission depending on what kind of material is it. In our hub, we also, I just saw another question, so I'm trying to address it together. So once the material comes to our hub, we also try and segregate into 35 other categories. So there can be like a simple paper material can be a Xerox paper, a print paper, a cardboard paper, a corrugated sheet, etc. So we try and sift it into 35 other categories, and post that we sell it to authorized recyclers under the Pollution Control Board. So that kind of helps us, sell materials in bulk and also make the revenue.
Okay. And this is coming from Praveen Khedale. Have you explored EPR, plastic credit, as an additional source of revenue? And what is the current status if yes?
Yes, we are exploring EPR and plastic credits, definitely. We are in talks with a lot of people. In fact, a lot of alumni. I've reached out to a lot of alumni who are actually helping me figure this out as to how we can apply for an EPR. In fact, Deeksha Sharma, who's one of the recent pass outs, she's been helping me out with this. And I've also spoken to Chandan and a few other alumni for exploring this avenue, because plastic credits and carbon credits is something that is upcoming, and we would definitely like to tap this on.
It will actually increase your working capital requirements. So just keep that in mind. Everything is connected to something else.
Yes.
Looks very nice on paper, but all the EPR credits come in last month. So you will get a revenue bump, but then you have to spend the whole year, and nobody is willing to fund you for that. So just keep all these things in mind. All looks very nice, but
Sure. Sure.
We have our next question. We have a few questions from students, but they are more generic in nature. So I'll first address, to pick up questions for Neelima. And this is a question from Bhushan. I was talking about the alumni database. Bhushan's helping us with that. And Bhushan is asking, we hear a lot about the qualities needed to succeed as an entrepreneur, but what are some traits you've actually had to let go of along the way? What did you have to stop doing? And Vineet, you could take that question as well after Neelima, perhaps.
I think I'll definitely let Vineet answer this question. This will require some introspection.
No, I think you don't need to let go anything. You just continue to do what you're doing. Other people will tell you what not to do. So if you're arrogant, you'll be being humble. If you are actually demanding from others, the world will demand more from you. So I think entrepreneurship doesn't really ask you to do anything. One of the reasons you become entrepreneur so that you have the freedom to make choices. The only thing that entrepreneurship teaches you is every choice has a cost. And that cost comes from, I was a very arrogant guy, and it costed me a lot of money because I used to open my mouth before understanding what consequences would be. And I lost a lot of money, actually, real money, capital, very large amounts of capital. So there is always a consequence.
There's a question from Vineet Kumar, MBA FM 27. So this is someone in the student room there that we have in the video. So I think Vineet, sorry, Neelima, you addressed some of part of Vineet's question when you said the process of segregation and whether the waste is simply sold to a larger dealer as this, or are you processing something there? A little bit more on how you're doing it.
Yeah, so as I said, it's micro segregated into 35 different categories, and then it's sold to an authorized recycler. That's very important because we try and bring the traceability along the in the application also, as well as to where does the waste go. We try and ensure that the waste is managed in the most compliant manner as possible.
Okay. Question from Subarao is how to boost ourselves when the business graph is flat or down in terms of the graph. How do you boost yourself? Vineet, if you faced any...
If you need boosting, then you're not an entrepreneur. Actually, negativity makes most entrepreneurs, because when you're down, you want to fight out. And that's, so every negativity actually is sort of a booster dose where you actually stand up and fight again. That's really what entrepreneurship is. Every day you will be brought down. So whether it's not just the graph, there are many other things that will bring you down. You may be, you have to pay salaries to people, you don't have money in the bank account. You have to still go out, you still have to face your current employees, and you have to say or tell them, and that's the worst that you'll have to face, that you don't have the money to pay salaries. You have to let go people, you have to do this. So entrepreneurship is all about learning to deal with these challenges and still surviving and having a smiling face. So that's really what entrepreneurship is.
I see another question coming from the students, Entrepreneurship Development Cell. I believe it could be Anmol. How are you managing the cost when the informal sector is paying more than the amount you are offering?
So we try and make the informal sector a part of us. So we basically have partnered with them, and we try and collect the stuff. We pay them on time, so that's why it's better for them because they get the money on the spot. They get better money on the spot also as well. And we try and take the material from them. We've also included them into including other waste streams, like maybe cloth, maybe thermocol. We're slowly expanding to other kind of materials which are actually hard to recycle, maybe like footwear, and other mattresses is something also that is something that we're including. So, this is how we're trying to make them as a partner and work along with them rather than seeing them as a different entity. So the important idea is that the informal sector or the shadow economy plays such an important role in keeping our cities clean that they're very underrepresented. And we want to make them a part of this formal system. We want to work hand in hand with them. We want to retrofit the already existing model that these people have been working on rather than creating and challenging a new system.
Neelima, there is a question from Marilyn Chaco. I don't know if Marilyn is in the call, and if they can come up on the video. Could you kindly guide me on how we can start a similar waste management business in Bangalore? I think I would say Neelima has been offering franchisees. She's doing that. So do connect with her, Marilyn, and maybe there's a business opportunity for both of you to collaborate here.
Yeah, Merlin. I think on a daily basis, we get so many queries from Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, and Delhi. And we've been unable to do much about it. But I think the time is just right. If you would like to help us start in Bangalore, I'm going to Bangalore in a couple of days. We can definitely meet up and we can discuss.
Great. Anand is asking you a question, Vineet. And I think this is going back to something that you were saying earlier. Does it make sense to do something that you are really passionate about? It may not be easy. Will it work for someone else? And something about, I guess here what he's asking is, how do you go after the passion? There's a lot of ifs and buts, that go on in the mind, but taking that plunge.
Ifs and buts, if are there, then you're not passionate enough. That's it. So, if you're passionate enough, there will be no if and but. You have to be very naive, very stupid, and very convinced. Only way to change the world. Anybody who is wise like me would know that you will fail, but that's why I won't change the world. You will. So just be very naive. Confidence and bullheadedness actually what make you take the first plunge. After that, you have to grow wisdom around yourself. But if you are actually worried about what will happen before you are starting, then you are not passionate enough. So just take your time.
And Neelima Merlin has given her number in the chat, so you both can connect. I think there are a couple more questions, but I think they're beyond the scope of the topic. They refer to climate change and some of the other areas. If anyone else in the audience would like to ask a question, and I see Anand has raised his question after Vineet's response. Anand, do you want to come up on the video and ask your question? Okay.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, Anand.
So actually, my question was regarding like if someone wants to do something, and it was not more about doubt, but it was mostly about how to choose a topic on which you want to work on. So, like I have certain topics, I have certain goals, but I have read somewhere that if you are really passionate about something, when the days go dark, like when things don't work out, or it will be easy for you to work because it is not work for you, but it is work for others. So should we base our decision based on that, or should we see what's like, as an entrepreneur, you see many things that needs to be done. So what out of the two paths that we should choose to like start?
So Anand, it is all a question to yourself. You're finally engaging with yourself. No external person, either me or somebody else, can give you that insight. My recommendation would be that whatever the ideas you have, you actually have a discussion with more people. Try to understand if your passion is going to be it's a hobby or it's a business. A lot of people confuse passion for hobby into a passion for business. I think those are the questions also basically asking yourself, are you willing to wake up every day to deal with the challenges of running a business? Does that excite you? It could be in a different space. Is it the space that excites you irrespective? So again, business or entrepreneurship is not about you alone. There will be a lot of other people who will be with you, and their responsibility is on your shoulders. So if you don't enjoy the responsibility, how would you actually, even if it is the area that you really enjoy, but if others are feeling bad because you're not able to earn, those things will make you feel bad. So I think it's a conversation. You have to have a conversation with you, some other entrepreneurs like Neelima. I'm happy to actually have a conversation with you as well. But just, it's not that easy. And only you come to know once you have jumped into the, I keep telling people, when people read, they said, we have read a lot of books, we have spoken to other people. I said, how about if I make you sit next to a swimming pool and you can watch people swimming. You know how a breaststroke is done, you know how a freestyle is done. The moment I push you, you will sink like a rock. So entrepreneurship is the same. When you sit on the sideline, you can keep procrastinating, you can keep debating, but till the time you have some water go inside your windpipe, you will continue to struggle. So let it happen, jump in, and then you'll figure out.
Vineet, we have a very nice question coming from Soumya Gua. Soumya is 1 year after me from IIFM, BFM 2004. What is it about India and IIFM now that you feel augurs well for entrepreneurship? Is the ecosystem getting better? If yes, in what ways?
IIFM separate, but India is right now an incredibly great place to be an entrepreneur. There is a massive amount of capital, massive amount of restructuring, massive amount of local capital. In fact, I can tell you, you walk outside my office, walk on the road, shout that I'm an entrepreneur, I'm looking to raise money, you will actually raise 50 lakh, 1 crore. Because people's ability to write checks and people's ability to take risk has gone up quite incredibly in terms of, so the risk appetite has gone up. So India is a great place to be an entrepreneur. And not only just being an individual entrepreneur, the government is willing to support the early stage entrepreneurial ecosystem. The desire for people who are studying to join you is also very high. People are looking for excitement more than money. That actually starts auguring well for entrepreneurs. And that I think is unique. I mean, India has not seen something like this. I have not seen something like this anywhere in the world. Maybe Silicon Valley, but today from Bhubaneswar to Bangalore and Jammu and Kashmir to Kochi, you are seeing an entrepreneurial renaissance taking place in India. And so quite an extraordinary time. IIFM simply because the golden handshakes that Shikha has, people like me don't have. Our salaries were so small that we could be entrepreneurial very quickly. So if you come out from Harvard, you come out from IIMs, the cost of taking that jump is just too high. And to me, that's one of the reasons why IIFM, I personally believe, has actually done so well in producing entrepreneurs.
Vineet, I think I'll take the last question here. We are, 16 minutes above the hour now. Neelima as well, and this is a good question to finish off the session. Coming from Diksha Sharma, building a startup requires a lot of patience and resilience. How can one develop the mental toughness to handle setbacks and failure along the way? And I will add a little bit to that question. How do you, Neelima was saying the business is running you rather than you running the business. In all of that, that you're riding through, how do you, take care of your mental health, your physical health, those aspects which are very important to keep the engine running?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that you have to be physically fit. Frankly, it is going to take a lot of you. The mental stress can get you a heart attack very quickly. But let me actually give you an animal, this thing. You need to really be focused like an ant. Not a very impressive animal to really go about, but an entrepreneur has to be like an ant. You have to focus on what you're doing. Don't read too much newspaper, don't get influenced. That guy raised money, that guy has become a unicorn, that guy has become a billionaire. All that is serious bullshit. So first, don't read the papers, don't get too inspired or too depressed by what others are doing. This is a fight between you and yourself. So everything that you do is between you and yourself. Your success, your failure is all yours. At the maximum, you share it with those who work with you. So other people are immaterial in this race. It's just between you and yourself. The second part on the mental side is, before you get into the mental side, because the mental side will challenge you very hard. So you have to look at your physical health. And I have seen and noticed a lot of people not taking care of physical health. I can bet my bottom dollar, I can beat most of the young guys on a push-up, even today. I can do 50 push-ups even now, on my knuckles, even right now. Now that actually is very critical. If you can't do that, if you're not physically fit, you will start seeing how it actually sucks your energy. The third thing, in case you are in a global business, like unfortunately I am, every flight that you take actually sucks out so much from you. And then you get down, and because you're in a different ecosystem, you're actually waking up at different times, your body clock is all over the place, your food, your digestion, everything goes around. So if you're not fit, you would not be able to survive the run for very long. The number of heart attacks people between 45 and 50 are seeing largely is coming from lack of fitness or too much stress and no sleep. So if you can't sleep under stress, don't be in this space. I sleep very well simply because I know that we have to fight every day. So it doesn't matter how bad the situation is. Next day is going to be a new day and we'll fight to survive. So that's the mindset.
Thank you. Neelima, do you want to add anything there to what Vineet was
Just a
saying?
few, I think Vineet has also already mentioned, that something that gives you more joy definitely makes you going. And I think for me, it's the waste industry and maybe my vision of seeing, a land-free India. I think that just makes me going. I think similar thoughts for Vineet also as well. That when that overpowers the financial stability, I think your mental health, your physical health, all taken care of. I think it's a journey worth experiencing.
Okay, so we will be closing now. Neelima, any closing statement from you? Anything that you want to say as we finish this?
I was thrilled to be the first speaker here. I mean, this initiative is fantastic, and thanks to Shikha and you, Vineet, for actually forging this platform and creating this platform. I hope there are many more entrepreneurs that come out of IIFM, and we work to create better things for a better future.
Thank you, Vineet. Anything from you to close off?
Because in 2015, 193 governments of the world, the presidents and the prime ministers came together to see a vision which humanity has never seen since the time Homo sapiens started walking straight. So in 2015, we came up with something called Sustainable Development Goals, a vision with the world by 2030 with no hunger, no poverty, no inequity. Now, of course, this requires a lot of money. My last calculation, in 2018, we published a report called Better Business, Better World. Roughly $2.5 trillion every year. So we needed $30 trillion to be invested in businesses like that Neelima is running. And it's a lot of money. I know $30 trillion is a lot of money. It's 6 times of India's current GDP or future GDP also. But if you look at the global pool of capital, there are $400 trillion of capital in the world right now. And we are asking that $400 trillion to grow 1% less than what it is growing. It's roughly growing at 2.5% to 3.5%. So it's earning that interest. If it just foregoes 1% of that interest, we will have a world that we have never seen. So each one of you as an entrepreneur will inspire some investor to forego that ask and participate in your journey, and that journey will create a world by 2030, hopefully even if we miss 2030, maybe 2040, 2050. But a world without hunger, without poverty, without inequity is a world worth fighting for. And each one of you are in that journey. So IIFM is unique. IIFM gives you offers you an opportunity to actually imagine and live for a world like that. There is no other institute in the world which will offer you that opportunity. So let's all join hands. Let's all fight for it. That's really, from my side, over to you, Shikha.
Thank you, both of you, for this brilliant session and the start we've had. As I said, Vineet, it took us some time to get your attention, but once we had it, you've really brought your vision to it. And we hope we continue this forward with more stories to inspire people and, to learn from. So thank you to the audience for joining, and Sandeep for your support as always. Very grateful for that. And we'll see you in Avinya too, Avinya's second episode in a couple of months. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neelima, and thank you, boss.
Thank you. Bye-bye.